door. It's like, are you really sure you want to do this?
We're live.
Well, you think.
It's the Craft Cast. I hope we're live. I'm sure people in the live chat can tell us.
Yeah.
Hi, Pam. Everyone, let us know where you're watching from in the live chat. We have some peeps from Australia.
Everyone, let us know where you're watching from in
Whoa.
the live chat.
What have you done?
I took care of it. I mean, it
You were
wouldn't be a
just
craft cast
saying.
without errors,
You were
okay?
just saying, I could totally do this without you.
Well, I had it on. I was watching. I'm
Watching
sorry.
yourself. You can't
Yeah.
watch yourself.
Hello, everyone. It wouldn't be a craft cast without some errors. As you trickle in, please leave questions for me, for Simon. That's our guest this evening. He's on mute. He's waiting. He's waiting in what's called the green room. I think that's pretty cool.
Is that actually what they call it?
Yeah,
Really?
I think it is.
Oh. It's not very green.
it's
got a
not.
light background.
Look, there's people from Pennsylvania, Massachusetts.
King George, Virginia.
Do you know where that is? Because I don't.
King George, Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it close to here?
Yeah, it's not far.
We're just outside of Annapolis, Maryland, in Severna Park. I'm sure nobody knows where that
No.
is.
Nobody's going to know that one.
It is not at all very interesting. But yes, we have Simon Hurley to talk to tonight. Do you want to just bring him on so we can start chatting?
I mean, we put him on mute like pretty abruptly about like 25 minutes ago. So
Yeah. See, it's a common thing with the craft cast is I make the guest or guests hook up about 7:30 so we can test the sound. Believe it or not, we do test things. And and then we put them on mute. Or I sit there and talk to them and all the good stuff gets translated in the 20 minutes before we go live, and then you guys get like the after conversation. So this time I said, shh, we are not talking until it is time to go live.
I don't think we even
that way we can catch up live. I have not really spoken to him besides, hey, I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't even think it was so much as a pleasantry. Like I don't even think we said hello.
I think it makes it more authentic. Whatever.
Well,
it's fun.
You know.
So Simon.
Hey friends,
Hello.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here with you guys and chat and catch up, and everyone in the chat I've been watching.
So what's up? For people that may not know who you are, tell us who you are or a little bit about you.
Yes. So my name is Simon Hurley. I started crafting when I was maybe like 11 and have kind of like grown up in this industry. I graduated, has it been 2 years already? Maybe 2 years ago? One?
It's
like almost, well, yeah. I mean, like the next senior class has started. So it's going, the 2 years has started. So it'll be like this, when my son graduates this year, that's 2 years after Kaylin, which was the same as you.
Okay. So about 1.5 years around there is when I graduated. And then I went full time kind of into this. And I have a line with Ranger called Simon Hurley Create. And that has just been so fun to kind of like explore and be thrown into that, and then kind of really learn a lot about the industry the past few years, which has been cool.
Were you 11 when you started? I thought that it was younger than that.
I was younger, but I didn't start card making when I was younger. I did a bunch of other crafts. Like I did a bunch of stuff with polymer clay. I like crocheted like my own stuffed animals. And then when I was 11, I found alcohol inks, and then I started making the cards from that, from looking up what to do with the alcohol inks.
Do you still like other crafts?
I haven't done anything really other than card making for quite a while. Besides, like, I painted a canvas here and there, but not too many other crafts besides like school projects and stuff like that.
Well, because you are a designer now, it takes up so much more of your time. I can imagine that it's really hard to do much else. Did we lose him?
No.
Okay. To do much else other than cards.
My screen froze up for a second there. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. You're back now.
Okay. What'd you guys say?
So I'm sure that you're very busy because you're designing. You're designing your own products now. So because that takes up so much more of your time, it's hard to find time to craft, especially do other things other than card making.
Yeah, definitely. It takes up quite a bit of time. And then also one of the things that I really found that I loved about card making is there's a whole industry behind it. So I think it makes things a lot more interesting, and like there's always new things happening and lots of people surrounding it. Whereas with a lot of the other crafts, there wasn't that. So it was just kind of you by yourself creating. Whereas I feel like this is more of kind of a community, which is super cool.
I love this community. That's really why I started, because I just wanted to share on different blogs and, be part of the community and make crafty friends. And I've succeeded at that. I've been
Yes.
successful.
Yeah, and that was the coolest part to me about it. And I didn't know it when I entered the industry either, that there was like this whole group of people. But then once you get started, I think you really find that group. And it's, yeah, like you said, you find a lot
It's
of friends.
amazing.
And yeah.
And they're so kind. And if you're having a bad day, I mean, sometimes being online can be hard,
Mhm.
especially recently, where sometimes you get an overabundance of online. But you can go and into this community. I have a Facebook group called Procrastination, and I feel like I can go in there and just share whatever I'm thinking about, and someone's going to have an opinion. It doesn't always have to be about card making. Sometimes it's about other crafts, or I shared when I bought like a sewing machine, and who else is going to care?
Right. But it's so
But other
cool that
crafty people.
Yeah.
And I love having that community of like-minded people to like say, hey, I got this great deal on a sewing machine. And then
Right,
they're going to be
because-
like, man, that's awesome.
Exactly. Because you can talk to people in your life about it, but not everybody like relates to the card making industry. Exactly. You can talk to anybody about it. My mom's like confused sometimes. She's like, what are you talking about? But when you throw it to other people who are so like-minded in this community, I think you get some amazing kind of camaraderie going on.
Yeah, because I get inspiration from a lot of different things. I'll take a picture of something out in public, like a sign, something graphic.
Vehicle.
Yeah, some kind of color combination, somebody's laptop case. It could be a lot of different things. And I'm taking pictures of these things so that I can remember them. But like, it's an entire group of people where I can share this picture and be like, this is giving me inspiration to make a card. And they understand what that is. He's
Totally.
like, how do you get a card out of that?
Oh, really?
Exactly.
I'm not wired that way.
Yeah. I stop people like mid-sentence sometimes, pull up my phone and snap a picture of like you said, whatever it is, like a placemat or like a wall. It's just, you find inspiration from every single area. And
Yeah. Restaurants.
yes.
I'll be in the middle of a restaurant and just something on their wall will be inspiration enough. You could be like blue background with a white inlaid die cut,
Right.
And you want to like make notes and stuff. Do you have anything that you keep notes like that together?
Yes, I used to do like notebooks and stuff like that, but I would always lose them. And then I started using the Notes app, but every time like I would start a new section and it was pretty bad. You would lose everything. So I went to the Reminders app from Apple, and it's nice because you can put the thing in and it's almost like a to-do list where you press it and then it disappears. So I have just a whole list of things, whether it's ink pad color names, card ideas, video ideas, anything. Like I can stop, if I'm at a red light, I'll like type in an ink pad name. And once one of those things gets used, you just check it off and then it disappears. So it's nice because at least the stuff goes away once it's done, but that's my list. So if anybody
reminders once, and then what happened was I got so inundated by it reminding me that I started to ignore all of the alerts that my phone, my iPad, my Mac, like everything that was telling me all the same stuff. I mean, homogenized.
It was too much.
Through, like do this, and this, and I'd be like, man, it's too many alerts. I gotta just none of it. So I like turned them. I ended up turning them all off. I can't. I'm back to pen and paper. That's how I do it.
I like to use pen and paper because that's just how I remember things. So I tend to write things down like in a notebook. But then I also have this digital side of me that likes to get reminders or see visually what I'm doing. So I kind of cross between the Evernote app and a physical notebook. But I feel like, I have to write it down wherever the inspiration strikes me. And I'm still not even very good at writing it down because I'll see something at Hobby Lobby, take a picture and make it like a little scribbled note, whatever I feel like I've been inspired to create. And then I'll go back to it a day or so later when I finally have time to actually make the card. And I'm like, what was I talking about?
I wish we could share
I don't
this one.
see it.
Right.
That would be
You
No,
have to
don't
use
share
really
that.
descriptive words when you're writing those down. Otherwise, like you said, you totally forget.
He's making fun of me because I make like chicken scratch, like stick
sketches.
figure sketches of my cards to try to get it out so that I remember what I wanted to make. And they're horrific.
Well, they're funny because she'll show it to me. Like where she'll talk about something and she'll be like, "Oh, what do you think if I did this, this, and this?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I mean, sounds great to me, man. Like, what do I know?" And then she'll sketch it out and then she'll show it to me and I'll be like,
I
"What
don't
is
see
this?" Like, I mean, who did her hair?
This is a card.
And she'll be like, "It's not hair. It's it's shading in the background." And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I mean, and they're funny to me because she'll talk to me. She'll show me the picture of the stamp she's talking about using, and I kind of get an idea of what she's referring to. And then when she sketches it, it's nothing at all like what I thought she was referring to. And then when she makes the card, we're back to me having a pretty good idea of what it was going to look like at the beginning.
I go for basic shapes, like if it's a bear, if it's an image of a bear, I'll just put like a big circle and like some stick legs. It's sitting down, just so I know that I'm using the bear sitting down image. It's really my notes, so he doesn't have to get it at all. But it's funny because I try to do it to the best of my ability so I can remember my brilliant idea. And then sometimes it's still, I don't get it. I don't know what I was trying to do here. Like these sketches are so bad, I can't even understand my own notes. But
I have that same thing. I don't ever draw my notes, but I sit with my mom. She does exactly what Tim does. And the other day I was talking to her and she goes, like, I don't actually ever throw any ideas out here. Like, you pretty much just bounce ideas off of yourself with me there. And then, but at least she was like, at least if I can help you by sitting here, I can, but I don't understand any of it. Because I'd be like, I'll do an inlay die cutting technique with stamping on top. And she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's great when I'll be like, and what if you do that? And she'll be like, no. I'm like, okay.
Even when he does have ideas, I'm like, what? No, that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. Don't give ideas.
Don't think. Just listen. I got it. I know my spot.
But it's how you're kind of like just regurgitating these ideas and bouncing them off of her. You're helping yourself get them out and into something that's tangible. Mm-hmm. So it's good that you can do that.
The one that you're pulling it from.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's how creatives, and everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
Like everyone is creative in a different way. Does anyone in the live chat use an electronic kind of note-taking system for their card making? Let us know in the live chat. Someone said something about a new ink color. Have I missed it? Have you released some new ink colors lately?
There is new ink color coming out on Tuesday.
Oh, it's not out yet.
Not
so
out
they're
yet.
trying to get you to give it up. Okay.
Yes, I posted it on Instagram today. So the color is out, but they all are guessing the name. It's a green.
Can you show the color to us without sharing the name?
Yes.
Ooh, I like that. That is a nice, that's like a really good
Your
green.
names are unguessable. It's really like, that's just,
he has really unique, just like Leslie. She has unique names for things too.
I mean, do you have a lizard? If so, what's its name? That's what I would guess is its
green. It's very
you're close.
Like it's lizardy.
That's
in some way.
It's in that family. There's definitely hints on Instagram as well. But it's,
Okay, well
it's
now
my
I'm gonna
Christmas
have
release.
to.
So the whole
Well,
Christmas release is coming out Tuesday.
I love that color. That's a fabulous green. I usually go for greens like that, like a mossy green or a really bright green, like in your face, like green, you know.
Yes.
But those are my two. And I have a ton of green cardstock. If I were to say that I had more of anything else, it is not gray cardstock. It is green. I have like this. You card makers can understand. I have this much green. And it is all different shades of that or bright green. There's a little bit of in the middle.
Oh, there's a
Little
lot
bit.
of people guessing in the comments.
Oh,
But
yeah,
yeah,
there are.
green. I use green a ton on my cards too.
Iguana green is a good guess. Gecko green. Is the name based on a Taylor Swift song? Allison asks.
I mean, I definitely use the Taylor Swift song for the Instagram reel, but it's not based on a Taylor
I
Swift
feel
song.
so old right now because I don't even know what they're talking about. Like I know who Taylor Swift is, but I don't know her new song.
No, it's not a new one. It's not a new song.
Just
It's
because
definitely an old one.
it's because you didn't see his story today.
Okay, well
That's the
I'm
problem.
gonna rectify that as soon as we're done here.
And I won't show you
That
on here
I
because
can.
we're going to get copyrighted if we do, but
Oh, of course,
Okay.
they love to do that to us,
right.
or just kick us off completely. That's always fun.
Someone
But-
asked a good black ink color for
This
Copic
was all the way
coloring.
at the beginning. This was
Yeah. There's so many. I have probably 3 that I use on a regular basis, and it's Simon's Intense Black. I've used Memento Tuxedo Black, and I have MFT's Extreme Black. I think I use regularly. Would you like to answer, Simon?
I don't Copic color anymore, so I don't
Really?
have a. Yeah, I haven't done it in like maybe 2 years. Ever since my ink came out, because I struggled with it so much. And then when my ink came out, I was just like, watercoloring became so much easier for me, and I like really mastered how to do it well. So I got rid of like my black ink pads that used to be Copic friendly, kind of dried out. But I used I think the Simon Says stamp one, and I also used Memento for a while.
I get bored if I stick with one type of coloring method. So I have to change it up. So I'll alcohol inks for a little while, and then I'll have to use my colored pencils. And I don't know what that is. I don't know why. That's me. So I have to have like a variety. So I don't know if I'd ever be able to give them up completely though.
Yeah, I still have mine. So I might pull them out at any second. But we'll see. I was
2
definitely
years
thinking
is a
about it the other day.
long time. They're probably dried up.
Yeah, a lot of them were drying, and then I was just too lazy to buy the
Isn't that
refills
the
too.
worst?
Yes.
I'm at that point. I'm at that point where I have to start buying refills or they're not going to work. I have to start
Right.
taking care of the markers, and I'm just using other things.
Yeah, it's the worst because you invest in these markers and then you have to like reinvest in the refills, and it just is painful.
Yeah, like it's so great. It's so great that they're refill and you can take care of the nibs and you can redo and reuse. I don't. I just use something else.
It was really tough at the beginning when she like first started. Like I think it was like the first marker that she refilled. Like she had the tool, she had like her gloves on. I mean, the whole nine. Like it was a full scale production. I've never seen her do it since.
Nope.
I
Strong.
mean, I think it was like
Strong
was
Red was my first one that I actually had to reuse because you use it a lot, especially at Christmas time. I use it a lot. Excuse me. And that was the one that I did. I learned how to do it, and I measured all the things and did the right stuff and cleaned it all up. That was probably like the second to last time I ever did it.
Yeah, I've never seen it happen since.
Now I just have a collection of dried up markers that I must attend to.
Same.
It's terrible.
But I think what it really comes down to is that she looks at it and goes, "It's $6." I don't know that it's worth the level of effort and production that is required to do it without making a gigantic mess to save $6.
But I
Plus,
think that
you're still paying for the ink, right? You still have to buy the ink. I know it's a lifetime supply
right,
of
but
ink,
that's the benefit is like the refill of ink is really a lot. So you have a lot of value there. So that's the benefit. I just have to
mean-
actually embrace that value and use it.
I'm saying like I'm probably if it were me, like I'm the guy that I'm gonna
You're
go
just
buy
gonna
a new
buy a new
marker.
marker. I
There's
understand.
no doubt, no
That's
doubt in my mind.
your American wastefulness.
No, but like, but I mean, I use refillable things all the time, but it's not easy. It's such a production. Like I just described. I mean, you had like the little nib puller.
It's
tool, like
you
the
have to
whole-
take care of it. If you grab your nib with something other than the nib tool, you could mess it up.
There's a nib
And you
tool.
don't want a messed up nib.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's like a I could go get it for you. It's like a little tweezer, but has like a V in it for
Huh.
the nib to rest. So
It
it's
keeps
kind
it
of
safe.
yeah, it's very handy.
That's funny. For me, I think it came down to with videos. I like to do the techniques and like not like I wasn't great at coloring. So I was like, I can't teach people how to color. So that's why for me it was like, I'm just gonna stop doing this altogether and do something that I know how to do.
I can't either. Like I don't feel like I can teach other people to color. I can show what I'm doing and how I'm learning to color, but as far as being like some type of instructor, no, that's not
Yeah.
don't look for me. I can cuz I'm still learning, and
Mhm.
and we talk about this often like light source because that's really kind of what I butt heads with is because I don't want to take the time to learn how to do that. Um, I do occasionally, like sometimes I'll read articles or watch videos based on light source and I'll pick up a few things, but I guess I just don't I guess I just don't want to take it that far. Like I want it to
Yeah.
be easy.
Mhm.
I just want it to be easy. And
Tracy
so
doesn't take her nibs out to refill them.
some people don't. I think you can just drip
I'll
it.
just drip it on.
Yeah. But I, of course, wanted to do the proper way.
Forgive me.
You don't have to do it that way. Nothing I do is ever proper. Do we have any questions about nibs?
No, but a while back you did ask for people. You did ask folks about their electronic
Yeah.
storage and design programs. And Pam, who is hi Pam, she said something. She gave me an answer, and
I wish there was a way to like set them
there
aside.
we go. She uses Procreate.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Oh, Procreate to sketch. I've done that. I like Procreate for drawing. It's a
Mhm.
really, really nice drawing app. So if anyone's on the iPad, wants a cheap, really
It's like
fantastic,
$10 or
yeah,
something like that.
drawing app, Procreate is definitely it. I was most recently using it because I'm dying for a way to draw out my quilts.
Hmm.
So I want to design my own, because it's all based on shapes.
Mhm.
So I want my own way to basically design my own quilts. And there's a program that's a couple $100. I wanted to find like a cheaper, easier way to kind of do that. So, and Procreate has like a grid and a way to make shapes. So I
Yeah.
thought maybe it would work for that, but it's not. It's just too much of a pain. And it starts to choke up if you have too many layers. So it's just not the
Mhm.
right thing for that need.
I use it to design all of my stamps.
Really?
Mhm.
So I've never designed a stamp set before. So can you take us maybe through the process of like designing a stamp set?
Yeah, definitely. So designing a stamp set is the hardest, and especially because mine are so big, you have to fit a lot of images on there. And I always try to fit as many as I can. And then there's background stamps and then stencils. Stencils are probably the easiest unless if it's like a layering stencil. So to do like a whole stamp set, you basically start out with like kind of a concept, an idea. And then I'll draw like 1 or 2 images and then go off of that concept. So if it has like a holiday theme or whatever, then you kind of figure out what you want to, use along with those images and kind of build cards in your head. I know a lot of people do use, they use some Adobe software to do it. But I found that Procreate was the easiest for me just because it was more of a natural like drawing motion that it looks smoother.
Yeah.
So once all the images are drawn, you try to draw them all in the same size too, so that the line weight stays the same. Otherwise, you'll be resizing, and like proportionately, that's bad. So I make everything the same size, and then I bring it into Photoshop, and that's where kind of like the whole process comes to life. So if I want to make, this sweater or a stamp layer kind of fit on top of each other, you size it to fit perfectly, and then you have to fit everything onto the stamp sheet. So you have to like figure out the best way to do it and like fit little sentiments here and there. So that's
right. And they can't be too close because then they'll kiss and that's bad.
Yes. There's I think you have to leave 1/4 inch in between every stamp. Something like that. So that they don't merge together in manufacturing. It is a long process. It takes from start to finish, maybe like 8 to 10 hours to do one stamp set, depending on how detailed that set is. If it's a sentiment set, which I don't know if I've done that yet. I've done like handwritten sentiments, which take a while. But if it's like a sentiment set, it's usually a little bit easier. And then if you have to like fit all the sentiments in, it's difficult.
Yeah. So I'm not a good artist when it comes to drawing. My daughter is fantastic. I do not have what she has. It just passed through me and went right to her. My brother can draw really well too, but I don't know. I try, and it just comes out like terrible stick figures.
When you do it, like when you do it every day, and you kind of sit down and you have to do it, you really do learn pretty quickly. And then Procreate makes it easier too, because they offer things where it kind of smooths out your line more than you would do. Yeah. So if you usually I start off with a sketch, like a really rough sketch with like a pencil. And then I'll go on another layer and go over top of those lines once I get it perfect. And that's kind of how I get it like to be really clean and simple lines. But when I first started, like from the beginning of my product line to now, there's just so much improvement in drawing, but then also like how to put this set together and like how it's going to be used on cards. I look at some of my old ones and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with that anymore. But now it's like, it's getting
Don't look
a
back.
lot better.
Just keep looking forward. Just keep looking forward.
Hey, at least there's improvement though. I always say that, like when you look back and you cringe at something or like whatever, at least you're kind of improving and evolving from where you started from.
That's where I end it. You look back, see how far you've come, and then let it go. Because if you harp on it too long, that's when people start deleting videos and things like that. Don't worry about it. You've come a long way. Let it go.
Yeah.
So just keep looking forward, and your videos will start getting better, and you'll be able to see where you've come from. So, what do you think about when you go back and look at those first videos?
Oh, I cringe a lot. I definitely deleted some of them for sure. They had to go. But some, like quite a few of them, they're fine, but like the editing improves, the lighting improves. And like from a very young age, I remember thinking like I would rather have invested in new equipment than new like products, or like rather than just keeping that money. It pretty much all went back into it. So it was like, okay, we're upgrading this camera now, new monitors over here, like, and it just makes the process so much smoother. He's looking at all the equipment. But it's a lot, but like that really helps to improve it. What'd you say?
Yeah.
I said I've heard that story before.
If there's any advice to people asking about like starting YouTube channels, that's really good advice, is to make the best quality video that you possibly can. Now, I like that also because I'm into making videos. I enjoy it. I enjoy the editing process. I make things way harder on myself on purpose because I like it.
Yeah.
But I do. I make it way harder than it needs to be for fun. But
Same.
that's always where I want to spend money, is like, oh, there's a new lens, or there's a new thing, there's a new something that'll, and it doesn't even have to make it better it could make it like easier in just the slightest way, and it attracts me. Like, what?
Yeah,
I won't have to actually press the record button. Okay.
exactly. It's genius.
She has an art tablet here that allows her to touch up photographs with a pen more easily and
Yes.
with greater control than the iPad would allow her to. So she's got this great like 22-inch, painting tablet like that's got so many other capabilities. She uses it for one function.
But my daughter also likes to draw, so I did buy it thinking that maybe she would come down and use it.
Lure her down.
Yes, it hasn't worked yet, but there's still time.
Nice try.
But yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I watched a video where they were editing photos, and I love taking photos of my kids and editing photos, and just playing around. And so that was enough for me to get the tablet when it's really actually just made for drawing and for professional designers to use and make beautiful things.
Hmm.
But it's also really fun to edit photos on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that's why I got it.
yeah, there are so many things where it's like, okay, the littlest upgrade to you might not even be noticeable to everyone. Like a new camera or whatever might just upgrade your content this much, but it like makes us happier, I
It
think, to see our
revives
content
you.
evolving. Yeah, exactly. And it makes you more excited to keep creating, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
And that's why when I see you do things that are fantastic, like, and I notice your video looks good, I'm going to tell you, your video looks good.
Thanks.
And I love sharing that with people. I love having friends that take pride in doing that, editing.
Mhm.
Not everyone understands how much behind the scenes work putting out these videos and blog posts and
It's a lot.
content creation is,
Yeah.
and when you first start, you're doing it for nothing.
Hmm.
And it's really tough. So
Well, you do it for a net negative for a long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to do
You
it
have to be prepared to pay
for
to
the
play
love,
for a while.
for the love of the game.
Yeah. I think I did it for like 4 years without making pretty much anything. I mean, it was like every here or there you would get a little something, but then once you kind of start evolving from there, I think but you have to be willing to just put in all of that time and effort. And I put out so many videos during that time, and like you said, saw nothing back from it except for the amazing community and just having fun with it.
That
And
was
someone
enough.
someone in the chat said, like, is there any other hobbies Simon has? And like I would say that video editing and the drawing, like those are my other hobbies besides making the cards, which is weird because it's all a job for me,
Yeah.
kind of.
That's
But
her
it's
photography as well.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
incorporated into just one awesome job.
and it's so much fun.
But like most people don't see right away that you're not just getting to sit here and make cards.
Mhm.
Like you might like to make cards, but you're only really making cards for just a short period of that time. And then the rest of it, you're
Yeah.
taking a picture of that card, you're editing the video and making sure the sound, and you're uploading the video
Mhm.
and linking to all the things. And that takes a lot more time.
Hours. Yeah.
So, but it's great because the card making community, or paper crafting in general, I should say, has just really supportive people that have worked really hard for a long time to do the same thing,
Mhm.
and I guess what people would call like customers or your followers or people that are just card makers. Those are the people that are the most fun to meet, because those are
Yeah.
the true crafters that you can really relate to. Like, yeah, they don't share all the things and they
Mhm.
don't have beautiful Instagram pages, but they're the crafters that understand all, like, just your desire to make cards.
Yes, totally. I get so excited to put out anything new, like new products or whatever, not because of anything that's like anything because of it, but if it's like something that's exciting and innovative, like I was so excited for the stamping foam because you just get to see like what everybody makes with it. And it's like, okay, everybody's just getting so like excited, and it just, I think it like lights a fire in people to have something a little bit new. and just have fun with it. Like, yeah, like you said, you get to see people just creating it in so many different ways that you would have never thought of,
Yeah.
and making such cool things.
Yeah. And like I try to really acknowledge all the people that want to share with me, you know, so it doesn't have to be a beautifully staged photograph for me to take notice of it. I just love seeing people create.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be this glamorous, perfectly posed photograph. I just want to see people making cards and enjoying that, and finding other people that like to make cards and just making that a community. That's what I'm here for. Like, it's nothing else.
The other thing that's really nice about it is I think that there's a lot of supportive and co-interesting side bits to this, like, and things that other people will look at your photographs and go, wow, I really like your photograph. How do I do that? And you can say, well, I don't know what you've got or how you're shooting it. Start number one, check your lighting. You know what I mean? Like, let me just give you a little bit of a highlight. And then you can meet somebody through the card making or paper crafting community and find out that you have a mutual love of photography or quilting or needlepoint or, you know, whatever those types of things are, because most folks aren't one trick ponies.
Yeah.
You know, they have other things that they like to do. They like to draw, or they like to paint, or, you know, so, and you get exposed by, you know, by those relationships. Like, hey, I had never given quilting a try, you know,
and my mom was a quilter, Simon.
Half of this room
that's awesome.
last month has changed into, I mean, really, it went from a paper crafting studio to like a half of a quilting studio down here, like that.
My mom was a quilter, and she tried to teach me to sew so many times. And
you didn't want to,
you know, I just didn't really have an interest, you know, I was just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, we'll just make this quilt. And I would kind of half-heartedly pay attention or be interested in it. And then for whatever reason this year, something clicked. And I was just like, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it out and see how it goes. And I've just really loved it. And now my mom is like 400 miles away and can't help me.
I've been seeing all your
so
updates.
I have to learn the hard way. But it's so much fun. It's just a lot of fun. So yes, I am sharing a little bit more of that. People are asking if I'm going to make quilting videos, and I'll make a video on whatever you guys want, because
that'd be
it's
cool.
whatever I'm doing, really. I enjoy card making. The quilting is new to me, so I can't really teach anyone anything, but I can surely share what I'm doing and what's interesting to me about it, and how I find it really relaxing to be to have to concentrate on something. So part of quilting is you have to cut things perfectly and have this perfect 1/4-inch seam, and it's like a gigantic puzzle that you have to put together, and it requires concentration. So card making really doesn't, you know, it's kind of
not as much.
mishmash of just whatever you're feeling, you're making it into a card. Quilting is very, very different, at least at this stage for me. So
I was gonna say, I think card making requires a lot of concentration when you start, and then for us, it's like no brainer anymore. But like when I did crocheting too, it's like, okay, when you learn it, you're really invested in that and you're concentrating fully, and then it becomes kind of like this mindless, kind of relaxing activity. So yeah, it seems really fun. And I love that you shared that on your stories, because like you said, it's like when I started sharing more about random things in life on my Instagram stories, and kind of a format that, you know, people can come if they want to, but it's not a dedicated thing, is really cool, because then, like you said, you have people reaching out being like, oh, I watched that movie, or, you know, I'm doing this right now too. And it's like cool because you get to connect in different unique ways, and it doesn't always have to be crafts.
Oh yeah. And I loved Animal Crossing. Like Animal Crossing just brought so many people together. It was fun to hang out on a different platform and be creative. And it was so much. I mean, I haven't checked on my island in quite a while, so
you have roaches.
Definitely have some weeds that are going to require tending. It's been probably a few months, But I still really love how that brought a lot of crafty people together. That was really fun, and at a time that we really needed it too.
It's funny
Mhm.
you guys talk about the simplicity of it, yet the unique complexity of it at the same time. I just want to remind everybody that at one point there was a conversation had in this, in this relationship where she said, "I want to leave the dental industry and color full time." I mean,
That's cool,
this
right?
this was a this was a real conversation. Like it was a, and I mean I was like, for a moment I waited for the punchline.
There
I
were
was like,
other
yeah,
factors, like there were other factors that were pushing me to not work full time, but definitely like I was working and sharing videos for a couple years. I don't know how I was doing it. When I
full-time,
think back of how I was working
videos a
full
week.
time and putting out
Yeah.
like 2 videos a week, like what?
It's crazy.
And now I was struggling with 1 video a week because of
Mhm.
educating Dexter and just all of the things that we have going on here. So I guess it's cool to kind of look back and see how things have changed. But yeah, I left my job to color full time. Now I don't color full time, especially now in the situation that we're in. Dexter requires a little bit more of my attention. So it's more of a part-time coloring gig, but the fact that I get to do it at all, I'm very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's super cool. Like it's like you said, a scary thing to do at first, but it's super cool that you were able to make that work. And like you had pointed out, where you were doing your full-time job along with it, I had to do school along with the making videos and stuff. And so I put, I think, 1 video out a week or 2 videos out a week, and I really struggled with it, like getting everything done. But now that I'm doing it full time, it's more of like I feel kind of guilty if I'm not always like in that mode. And so this past like 2 years, it's been like retraining myself to be like, okay, you don't need to be running on 0 sleep. Like you don't need to edit until 3 a.m. Like go to bed and then start it at the next day, because that's what I always used to do. So it's been like a whole retraining to not work all the time.
I think that's another thing that quilting does for me is it allows me to escape what I have to do and concentrate on doing something else completely. That way when I come back to it, I don't feel drained of making cards or card making. I can kind of do other things, and that way I don't feel burnt out, because it's real easy to get burnt out.
Well, this was
Yeah.
your hobby, right? Once upon a time, this
Yeah.
is the thing that you used to do to escape the frustrations and the trials and tribulations of a workday. Now it is your workday, so you need another outlet to try to decompress, and that's what quilting has become for you. And if you start making quilting videos, then you're going to need yet a third hobby. So just keep your eye on whatever else we might be able to fit in the house.
So yeah, I have not made any sewing videos yet because it's kind of nice to just keep it that my extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
So I might, but I kind of like it just being something that I'm doing.
Yeah, you always need a hobby on this. I agree with that. It's like you don't need to always make everything the work, because then I think it gets like it feels like it's like weighing on you, like it's something
Yeah.
you have to do then.
What do you like to do to completely escape and just have fun and it's not crafty?
There's not a lot. Movies, hang out with friends, but they're all gone for college and everything like that. So they come back every once in a while, and I go over there to visit. It's like an hour away. They're not too far. But this summer was a ton of fun because there's a bunch of lakes around where we are. So it was like going out boating, and every single day we're swimming and stuff like that. And like I said, it was like retraining myself to, instead of work the whole summer, it's like, okay, if someone asks to do something, you got to say yes, unless if it's like a release day or something. So that was fun. So for me, that's pretty much it. Like I said, a lot of hobbies are wrapped up into this. So like there wasn't a lot more that I wanted to take on, but I have fun doing what I'm doing for work. And then, like I said, just kind of hanging out with friends, swimming.
As you become an adult, the desire to work is going to start to try to take over your life. You have to fight it as much as you can. I'm trying to talk to other people too that might be in this conversation.
Nope.
because it's real easy to work too much. Like,
All
Mhm.
day, every day.
so because, we find enjoyment in our job, and it's the way, his job feeds us and puts a roof over our head. And, da-da-da. But we have to remember to step back and play a little,
Mhm.
because that's when you get really drained, and we don't need that. We've learned that lesson. So try to take a step back and just completely erase
And
work
don't
from
be,
your
yeah,
mind
don't
and
be
do
afraid
something
to
different for a little
find the
while.
things that are gonna make you forget about it for a minute. I mean,
Yeah.
like-
My dad used to tell me that when I was like, I think it was literally when I started at like 13 or 14. At that point, I was taking on so many design team things that I would have like 3 videos a week. And he was like, "You're gonna get burnt out," and I was like, "No, I'm not." And then I definitely did. I like dropped every design team thing.
You're a good dude for being able to say, you know what, he was right.
Exactly.
I
He
learned my
was
lesson.
right. He was. And I dropped everything and I was like, you know what? Like I still want these relationships with these companies, but I can't do this all the time where it's like something has to be done. And even now, if I do like kind of design team work, or if someone sends products, it's either like I'm not gonna promise anything and I always make sure that people know that. Or you might get a day late, not the actual post, but like, okay, if there's something due on a certain day, it's like sometimes it's harder for me to make all those due dates.
Yeah, it's really hard when you attach a deadline to something. It kind of like makes creativity harder, because you're
Yeah.
already being forced to play with something that is
within some
yeah.
guidelines.
So somebody else is saying, here, create with this. And so you're going to take it and, oh, by the way, you only have this amount of time and you have these restrictions. So it's kind of, sometimes it's really difficult,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
makes it less fun. So the less restrictions you can take off of those things, the more fun you have. And really, I think the better product results from it.
Totally. Yeah. And really like I only take on stuff that I absolutely love. Now, like back then it was like, okay, I would take on a lot of different things, but now it's like, okay, there's certain people that I will always do things for. And there's certain, companies that are just amazing and make some great products. And so for me, it's like, okay, taking on the things that I love and learning to say no to things that aren't as aren't going to take up so much time, because you have to like designate things. Otherwise, like you said, you're going to get burnt out if you choose
But
everything.
I think that's the general evolution of anytime you do something with social media, because everything you just said is what I watched her go through to one degree or another to get to the point to where the opportunity, you start with like, let me try to get an opportunity. Let me just get a foot in the door.
Mhm.
Well, then the door flies open, and you can't bat all the balls back across the fence.
It's
and you
really
gotta
hard to
start-
say no
you
to
gotta start saying,
things.
look, I can't
Yeah.
do this every week, or I can't do this every month, or so can we do something part-time? Can I take some time away? Those types. I mean, I watched her have all of those conversations to try to balance her workload, and also try not to be so laser focused on any one manufacturer or distributor. That way, she got a chance to, get, or continues
I
to get a
can't-
chance to work with all kinds of different folks.
And I know that there's like, it's bad to not be just super focused on one kind of company, or like most companies want you to be dedicated to them. And I understand
Mhm.
that. I want my family to be dedicated to me too. But it's hard when you're a crafter because everything looks real nice.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I want to play with that, and I want to play with that. But there are definitely people that I'm indebted to. Who do you feel like indebted to, where like it doesn't matter what they ask, you're just gonna do it?
Gina K Designs, number one. She has
Yes,
been
ma'am.
She has been so amazing throughout my whole journey and experience. So always Gina. Christopher Allen has been absolutely amazing. I always work with his stuff and chat with him. Those I think are the main two. I mean, there's certain Ranger because I work
what's
with
weird?
them, but
You mentioned Chris, and I've thought about him a lot lately. It's just so weird. He'll appreciate this if he ever watches. But there's a shoe, an Adidas camo tennis shoe that keeps popping up like on my sponsored ads. And it's like, I love this shoe. And I think it knows it because it keeps showing it to me. And every
You're
time
showing it to me.
I look at it, I can't show it to him. He doesn't understand. I want to take a screenshot of it and send it to Christopher and be like, man, this shoe keeps looking at me.
Oh yeah, he's a shoe guru. He has so many shoes.
But he would understand.
Mhm.
So I keep thinking every time I see that shoe, I'm like, I'm going to take a screenshot of it because they already know I love it.
Yeah.
But he totally is like the shoe person, and I'm a shoe person. Of course, he has like a way cooler collection than me, but
Yeah, he has a whole collection. Somebody
That's-
asked something about if I'm gonna do more videos with Rena. And she went to beauty school, which I think is so cool.
I know
But
that. Yeah.
yeah, like we nothing bad ever happened. I want to clear that up. We stopped making videos just right when COVID hit, just because of the whole
Yeah.
lockdown.
It's harder to do things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think we were just like, okay, let's call the show off at least for now. And then I think we did one more, but no, I'm still very much so in contact with Gina and everybody. But yeah, she's doing awesome in beauty school. I
Yeah.
think that's just so cool.
And
She's using
everyone
her
can-
artistic talents in a different way.
Yeah. She posts on Instagram her beauty school stuff. Like she'll post every
Yeah.
once in a while and let us know what she's doing. So if you guys are interested in Rena or what she's up to, you can find
Yeah,
her
follow
on
Rena for
Instagram.
sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
see her beauty school stuff that she's doing. I always thought it was interesting that she had any interest in following in what her mom was doing, because like I said, my mom's was a quilter and I had
Mhm.
no interest in doing
Yeah.
it was almost like repellent, you know?
Mhm.
And then, so I always thought it was interesting that Rena had any interest whatsoever. And then come to find out that both of her daughters are artistic like that and contribute to her business. It's
Yeah.
great. It's really great.
Yeah, Alicia was really awesome too. She designs a lot of the stamps for Gina, but she also
Yeah.
like was behind the scenes kind of like producing our whole show.
Yeah.
Like when we did that stamp with us, she was behind the scenes making sure all the sound was correct and really making like all the lighting. Like she was the reason why the show was alive and well. So yeah, big
That's
shout out to
great.
both of them. They were awesome.
It's neat to see such an artistic family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so cool. And to see like everybody in it too, like Tom plays the guitar when
Yeah.
Gina does her lives. I think it's just so cool that they all
Is
did it together.
your mom artistic?
She is to an extent. She's very organized and creative. Like, so she was a teacher, a reading teacher. So she is like so good at being organized. So she's like that side of what I need for what we're doing. So she's like, she'll come up with ideas with me for like stamp sets, and she's gotten to know the industry a lot, which is really helpful for someone to talk to about the different things. She sits in all the meetings with me. But as far as creative, she did do scrapbooking when I was younger, but she stopped when she had 3 kids because it got to be too much to do all those books. Yeah. But yeah, she comes up with like ink names with me. So as far as that, like she's very creative to help with all that.
That's cool. What about your dad?
My dad is more business oriented, so I get a lot of advice from him about all of that stuff. He's not as involved, but whenever he hears about it, he'll kind of like guide us or help with what we should do in certain situations. He's been super helpful.
Yeah, dads are kind of like that.
Yeah, we're good at that.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone in the live chat have questions for
I have a
Simon
question.
while we...
Have you considered anything else? Like, was there ever a moment when you...
Oh no, did it freeze?
This that you were just... No, can you hear me? Are you...
Uh-oh. Did we lose Simon?
Well, now.
Gina used to be a hairdresser, and
He's
Rena
back.
is becoming one. Really? I didn't
I'm
know
back.
Gina did hair.
He is back.
Hello, Simon.
Hi. Was it just me who was gone?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think.
I don't know why the Wi-Fi went out. Okay. Well, I'm back.
Does anyone remember what we were talking
My
about?
question was, did you ever consider anything else? Was there ever a moment where you were like, really, you came out of the chute with guns blazing in one direction, right? As long as I've known you, it's been unilateral. Has there ever been a minute where you've been like, man, I don't know?
Yeah. I think there would probably a couple when I was first starting out. I think there's always that moment when you might be doing the same thing over and over and over and you get burnt out. And I think that's kind of a time. And then something that people always had said to me was, you've made it this far. So like, you're already here. So like keep moving because you're going to get through this moment. But there's been so many times. I mean, 1 year of creativation, went back to my room, just bawling, and was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not it. And it was because of certain things that had happened at that show. It was nothing it was more of like what I was doing and bringing to the show. It was nobody else really. And so there was certain moments, and I think there was one moment even last year where it was like, okay, I think I'm just going to go to college, and I think I'm just going to leave this alone. There's definitely been moments, and a lot of things that have triggered those moments behind the scenes that, business is tough for sure. And especially when you're thrown into it at such a young age, I think that's the most difficult part.
Business is not always nice.
No. It's not always nice.
Business is a lot of times really kind of a grimy thing. And for someone so young, it is definitely an experience. And I can imagine that, especially at this time in your life when you're kind of still making that decision, like, am I really doing the right thing by not going to school? All my friends are going to school.
Right.
Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. And I can totally see how this is my hobby. And when I see the grimy things, it makes me like, eh.
Yeah.
Because I just do this for fun. I don't even do this as my business, really. It's a business because of the nature of it, but I do it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to be young and have to experience some of those things, I'm really proud of how far you've come. I think you should definitely keep going.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, I am definitely in such a better place now than any of those moments, for sure. I think too, like, I didn't go to school for business, and so I didn't get any of like the advice or what people were saying. So to be thrown into it, and then you're like learning about all of this stuff, and it's like, okay, well, this isn't working, so now we got to pivot this way, and now we can't do this.
You gotta figure out how to trust people you don't know, how to know people you don't trust, and try to figure out the difference.
Yes.
Right? As a child, that's a tall order. It really is.
Mm-hmm. And then you learn to trust people, and those people might not be the best either. So it's like, it's a learning experience for sure.
And honestly, even as adults, we are always learning. And doing things, and we don't always make the right choices. So it has to be worth it. It has to be a passion in order for you to keep going.
I'm glad it's keeping the fire lit. That's one of the reasons for the question, because I mean, when I was your age, I was in architecture school. That was my big thought. I thought I was going to be an architect. I really did. I studied Frank Lloyd Wright, and I was amazing at mechanical drawing and drafting, and that was what I did well. And I thought that would translate well into building design, until I got to my first color rendering class. It was the first E.
Yeah, it's coloring.
I've ever gotten in my life.
An E?
The first E I had ever gotten in my life was in college, and it was a color rendering class. And I couldn't. What you guys do.
I inherited his big bag of pro markers when he was done with that crap.
I had been done with it for 12 years at this point. But yeah, I couldn't do what you guys do every day. Lay the colors down, blend them in, figure out what goes well with other things. I mean, literally the guy's name, his last name was Kuba. And he was Middle Eastern descent. And he said, "Are you colorblind?" I said, "I'm not." And
that's really bad.
He said, "I'd have passed you if you were colorblind." And I was like, "Is it too late to change my answer?" He's like, "Yeah, it's too late." He's like, "You're really bad at this." And he's like, "I've not been paying attention." And I'm like, "Oh, look, I read all the time. I can't can't do this. This
Oh
isn't.
gosh.
Pam wants to know what you would take in college if
That
you
would
were
have
to
been
go.
my follow-up question as well.
Yeah.
Oh, if I were to go, okay, I would probably do business
That's a good
because
answer.
yeah, because it's so versatile. Like probably marketing in business. Because it's so versatile, I wouldn't go for graphic design or anything like that because I think a lot of that stuff can be self-taught. And I've already learned a lot of that. But I think business and marketing would probably help me the most if I did go.
And somebody asked who I'm indebted to, and it's totally Amanda Stevens. 1000%. I will do anything that she ever asks me to do. I'm pretty sure I have. I'm sure she would say if I'd ever told her no. Amanda, have I ever told you no? I know you're in the live chat.
Yeah. It's okay. She's already got it demerit. She was late. So.
But I love her so much that she could, I don't know what I would tell her no to. So are there
There's
any
just something
other
like-
questions from the live chat that we've missed?
Kelly said, are we getting more lunar pastes? So lots of shortages in the world right now.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my
In
goodness.
fact, one of the ingredients for lunar paste is in that shortage. So we were supposed to get new ingredients for the lunar pastes weeks ago, and every week it gets delayed further by where we're getting the raw materials.
So at that point, do you guys have to change the composition? Like, do you have to rework the material itself at that point?
Yeah, so we have some amazing chemists, and they were looking into like reworking it, but we just don't want to change what's already come out, like for customers to either rebuy it or expect something and get something different. So right now the raw materials are on order, and they were supposed to be here weeks ago. So whenever they arrive, I'll let you know first. But
We were told. The other
Don't get him
day-
started. He's
were
just
told
going to
the
go
other
on and
day
on
that
about
we
roofing
get-
supplies.
We're only allowed to have 3 colors for the foreseeable future for shingles. 3
Oh,
colors.
it is so frustrating. This whole like the past 2 years, it's just been issue after issue after issue. But it's lots of problem solving.
I can't get colored pebbles. I mean, that's really my
He,
problem. I
like,
can't get
yeah.
colored pebbles.
He's
on
having a
for-
lot
for the
of
shingles.
supply issues, and the major supply house that we use got hit by a tornado. Yeah, last month when the tornado touched down in Annapolis, it took out the roofing supply company.
Oh gosh.
So like we are
That's really a
fine,
different branch.
but now he has to drive farther to get, and a lot of materials that we're already short on were completely destroyed.
That's
So,
crazy.
Yeah. So it's just a crazy time right now.
Yeah, talk about delays. The mail is really bad too. I was supposed to, okay, so my products are shipped to me beforehand, and usually I get them like a week or 2 before the release or more. This release, we were running a little bit late because of all the delays of everything. And so my products were shipped out to me, and they were supposed to get here on Friday for the release on Tuesday. They're still not here. So we'll see. We'll see if we have products on Tuesday.
It's just all over the place.
Yeah, all I have is the samples. So we either are getting a really bad looking demonstration or the products are going to show up. Who knows?
Well, I hope that 2022 is better. And I
Yeah.
know we all said that about
We can't jinx it now.
2021.
I mean,
But I mean, it kind of has to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Pam said, how'd you get Ranger to work with you when you were so young? Some people thought that I was related to people at Ranger, which is not
Really?
the truth. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, some people were like, he has to be their son. Like otherwise, why would he have a product line? It was just because of all the work I was doing. I had a product idea, which might come to fruition in the next year, but it's been very difficult to make. Like,
mhm.
but so who knows if it's coming out or not?
It sounds exciting.
It is very exciting, but it's also just very difficult to make. So we'll see. But that has been in the works for the past like 3 years to kind of rework it in different ways, and different product ideas like that. But that is kind of where I got started. I pitched them a product, and I was kind of already on their radar because I was working with them pretty closely. And then I was offered the signature designer position because I kind of fit right in where like everybody has their certain style at Ranger, and they were kind of missing like a clean and simple kind of card making line, and so that was kind of my idea for a line, and they liked it.
Plus, who doesn't love you? You're a
Thank you.
marketing, like it's just marketing goodness to have
Thank you
this
so much.
little kid that makes cards. I mean,
I mean, really,
it's everything Dexter thinks he is.
right. And from the first time I met you, I mean, it was just I was always impressed by how well you handled yourself. I mean, you've always. I mean, when you say that you went back to your room one time after after your show at Creativation and broke down, I have a hard time envisioning that because as
You're
long as
always
I've
so
known
together.
You've been zipped up pretty well. And
Thank you.
You don't look like you crack very easily.
Thank you. Yeah, it hasn't been very easily. It's been maybe once, twice, or 3 times. But yeah, I try to kind of.
It's happened to all of us.
Oh sure.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a tough job to do, and especially
Life is hard.
It's creatively draining. Yes, life is.
Sometimes I cry at very simple little things because it's
coming
just,
up on Hallmark season 2. So
Mhm.
for no reason for the next 3 months.
Sometimes those commercials are very sad.
My mom loves Hallmark movies.
They're so good.
But the plot is always like by the first minute you can just tell what the whole movie is going to be.
It's the same movie.
But every
It's the
time
same movie,
I want them
Simon.
to get together.
By the first minute, you're like, okay, that person is going to be with that person in the end, and they're going to like break up along the way.
And it better not end in a different way because that movie is not going to do well.
Right, exactly.
I love it. But you know what? I can be basic all I want. It brings me joy. Okay.
It just lets me stay outside all weekend and all night and all day. It's okay. It's where I want to be anyway.
Plus, I mean, we kind of have to keep Hallmark relevant in some way.
Yes. Because cards are our thing.
I have not bought a card in a very long time. Although I have.
She gets offended actually when people send cards here, and I'm
What
like,
is this?
my mom will send a birthday card or something, and she'd be like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Not everybody's a card maker. Like, people still have to
I'm so judgy with the pre-bought cards, and
That's
they're
hilarious.
not like me at all. But every time I get one, I'm like, I can make this.
I can make this, but better.
This has no dimension. It just has this silly glitter that falls off the card.
Right, you can critique it now that you're a card maker.
Yeah, I have high standards that are just unrealistic. Anyway, we're all very, very proud of you, Simon, and we like to say this all the time, but we're continuing to watch you prosper into whatever it is that you become, whatever that is.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thanks for having me, guys, tonight.
Real quick, Pat did ask this before, and I meant to get back to this, but she wants to know why no dies with the stamps. Is that something that's going to be remedied, or?
Okay, so this
does Ranger have dies?
In the other lines, I think Wendy might have dies as like a part of the stamp sets, but logistically to get dies for my stamps, it was a little bit difficult because they're coming from different areas and stuff like that. But they have agreed to doing dies. It's just a matter of me doing the dies. So once
you're actually the one to blame.
Yes. I mean, for a good 2 years there, I didn't have the okay. So I'm not to blame for that long, but like more recently, they've been more willing to the idea. So yeah, if I make dies, be sure to buy them, because if they don't sell,
right,
then might be dieless again.
They're not going to be around, right?
Yes.
So I mean, because dies, I love using coordinating dies. Like I have cutting machines, I have electronic cutting machines. They just they're not the same.
No,
and
not at all.
I mean, I love to listen to other people's opinions about it. I love that they love their electric cutting machine, but I love coordinating dies. So as much as I can, that's what I enjoy having. But a lot of times for design work, Tiffany.
I just wanted you to judge.
Tiffany.
Now I lost my train of thought.
A lot of times for design work, do you not get the
Oh.
dies?
Right, like I don't get them
Mhm.
because they take the longest to
Mhm.
manufacture. So a lot of times I have to make a card that will have coordinating dies available, but they're not available to me.
Yes.
So I have these things around because I don't like fussy cutting, and sometimes they're really great to have, but we all like the dies are the piece that they're the cream of the crop. They're
Yeah.
the best thing that you could use, in my
Yes.
opinion.
And if I make dies, they'll come untabbed because I cannot do that. Like any die set that I've gotten that doesn't cut apart, I just don't use it because of that process to me is just so difficult.
It's kind of like buying refills for your Copics.
Right. It's
It's just
almost
one of
like
those things.
it's like you could save time just by fussy cutting it if you have to cut them apart.
Yeah. So if Simon makes dies, we all have to buy them.
Yes. Yes. Everyone has to buy them because otherwise they might not last.
Yeah.
Or else they might not get dies again.
Right. You have
Yes.
to
One
make sure they
shot.
know we want them.
Right.
So thank you, Simon, for hanging out with us.
Yes,
And
totally. Thanks for having me.
we do have another Craftcast scheduled for next month, and I'm happy to. I hope that we can confirm with her. I haven't spoken to her recently, but it should be Jennifer.
That's awesome. That is
So
amazing.
hopefully we'll have another crafty chat next month. I think on the 24th.
That's really odd. That you would
I'm
know
not
that
ready.
so well.
Yes, because the Halloween is the last actual
Oh,
Sunday.
Oh,
So, but yes, and I guess that's it. Thanks everyone for hanging out.
thank you, everyone.
Until next time. End broadcast.